In-N-Out Burger, I think we talked about this earlier in the show. We kind of teased it. In-N-Out Burger in 5 states is now requiring you to have a doctor's note in order to be wearing a mask inside of their establishment if you're an employee. And it's states like Colorado, Arizona, California, I think, 5 western states where the woke virus has spread most significantly. And I want to give credit to In-N-Out Burger because I love this. Do you remember this back in the 2021, I think? People try to pretend this wasn't happening, but many different blue cities were trying to mandate that you show a COVID vax card in order to go get a hamburger at a McDonald's or an In-N-Out Burger. And In-N-Out Burger said, yeah, we're not going to be asking people if they have gotten the COVID shot before they come in and buy a hamburger. And it was actually controversial in California that they were willing to say that. And I know it's crazy to even think about, but you couldn't, Buck, you lived in New York City. You couldn't go into McDonald's in Times Square and get a Big Mac without having a COVID shot card to be able to show people.
In New York City, if you wanted to go to a restaurant and you had not gotten the shot, people, generally speaking, not everybody, obviously I've lived in New York during the pandemic, they treated you like you were a reckless monster who didn't care about other people being hurt by your actions. That was the widespread attitude, including going to get a cheeseburger. I remember de Blasio, the worst mayor in the country. I used to think maybe Ted Wheeler in Portland or who was just the mayor.
Lori Lightfoot was removed
in Chicago. No. Bill de Blasio was the worst mayor in the country when he was mayor. And I remember he had this whole thing where they were giving out Shake Shack to people, which I will say is a very tasty burger. I'm not going to lie. It's a very tasty burger. Much more liberal company in terms of ownership, but a very tasty burger. They were giving out Shake Shack to people to make them get the shot. And so it was in part like, get the shot, we'll get you free Shake Shack, and you'll actually be allowed to get the burger because you'll have the little special card. The fact that they even had vaccine passports for people, and there were apps and all this stuff,
yes,
that should never be forgotten. That the Democrats who did all this, these people should never be allowed to be in a position of power ever again. What they did is heinous. It was stupid. It was unscientific. I actually just saw a sort of a former colleague of mine, if you will, who's a medical doctor on my flight down here yesterday. And she saw me. She came over. She had done a show as a guest of mine, Clay, many years ago. She's an MD, critical care MD. Started talking about the COVID thing. And we kind of had this is in the airport, just walking together, had a therapy session. I was like, what? I said, what happened to your profession? She said, it's disgusting. It's horrible. What MDs and anyway. On to the happy side of things. I'm a very optimistic guy. In-N-Out Burgers are amazing. They're delicious. It's a great company. I wish it was public so I could buy stock. It's a private company, right? I don't think it's.
I think that's right.
I think it's
it's family owned. I think.
Yeah, if I could buy stock, I would because I would want to support them and be a part of this ride. Amazingly tasty burgers, and they love science and America.
Yes, and they are moving their East Coast headquarters to Franklin, Tennessee, I believe. And that is my hometown. And they're soon going to be opening In-N-Out Burgers here where I will be happy to go buy hamburgers and support truth, justice, the American way, and no masks anywhere.
What was the other?
As far as the eye can see.
What was the other sandwich place? I haven't even heard of it. You've got all these, like it wasn't Subway. It was the other place you said was even better.
Jimmy John's?
I've never been to a Jimmy John's.
You've never been to a Jimmy John's?
No.
Jimmy John also lives down the street from me here in Franklin, Tennessee now. It is an infinitely superior, in my always humble opinion, sub place to Subway.
Oh.
Not anti-Subway. I also will eat in Subway. But Jimmy John's, better.